Tubers, tubettes, and of course, crazy people. This was not an easy video for me to do. It was not a topic that I was comfortable with. There's been plenty of videos that I've done and others have covered about here in the Philippines with single moms. Women that were abandoned by guys or widowed by guys, and the challenges that they face being a single mother. I can't, for the best of my recollection, remember seeing, or I know I never did, a video about what the challenges might be for a single father who's suddenly thrust into that position in life. So I'm with my friend Jules, and this is his story. All right, so I am here with my friend Jules. And Jules, we met how long ago?
We actually met 9 months ago.
And you were 30 days in country.
Yes.
And we had communicated while you were in the States.
Yes.
Prior to you coming out.
Yep. Saw your channel, and I said, man, I gotta hook up with this guy. He's cool.
And so you found out that not to be true.
Yeah. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah. So we're going to go into a topic that makes me a little uncomfortable here, because we're going to talk about your relationship. And it's kind of gone off course a little bit. We're discussing your wife.
Yes.
And your marriage.
Yes.
And I always feel remiss if the other party isn't here and can defend themselves.
Oh.
So with your permission, I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit throughout all this.
Absolutely. You kind of look like Al Pacino anyway.
Hey, actually, I wanted to film him in a Lincoln, like Matthew McConaughey. I had this whole thing. It's like, am I in the Philippines or the Philippines in me? One of those. So anyway, we digress.
Yes.
I found out a couple of weeks ago, much to my surprise, because May, my wife, had met with you and your wife once or twice, I think, over coffee. Mm-hmm. Everybody got along groovy. Everything seemed to be cool. And then I found out that 2 weeks ago, your wife left you.
Yes.
Can you tell the folks what your version of that is?
Well, she spent 11 years in the U.S. working over there, and she made really good money. And she came back here, so she had just got her citizenship. So now that she came back, we were planning on staying here forever. Well, after 8 or 9 months, her family, of course, they start needing help. Her brother needs an operation. So she had already, previous to this, talked about how she wanted to go back and work because she was young. And I think she actually found an independency that she really liked.
When you say she was young, what do you mean?
She's 39 years old now.
Okay.
We were having babies when she was second year nursing in school, so she had to drop out of college. And she had 3 babies, and she's taking care of the babies while we're processing all the papers, which was literally an act of God to get everybody to the United States. And then me and her both constantly work. I mean, I cannot say one bad thing about her as far as her work ethic, because she is, I built houses in Colorado, and she was tougher than me. And I'm one tough SOB when it comes to work.
How long ago did you meet your wife?
I met her in 2004.
And how old was she?
20.
So she was 20 years old when you met?
Yep.
How old were you at the
40.
time? Okay. So you had the proverbial 20-year age gap.
Yeah.
And you were married for how long?
18 years.
And you're still married?
Still married.
And so for the last 18 years, how many of those years have you guys lived in America?
11 years.
11 out of the 18. 7 were here.
Yep.
Now, I don't pretend to know, because as I told you before, I like to go into these things cold. How long did you guys live here consecutively? Was that when you first came in 04?
When I came here in 04, I was here 7 years on and off, traveling back to the United States and working, bringing money back, sending boxes back, because I originally wanted to stay here. That was my dream. But by the third kid, I realized I was sitting in Taiwan at the airport doing my visa because I had to leave for 24 hours. And I said, you know what? It's time to go home.
Okay, so you guys were having a long distance but also physical relationship for 7 years. Am
Yep.
I correct?
Yep.
You came over, you met her, you fell in love. I'm assuming you got married at some point in time.
Yes.
You began a family, and then you would jump back to the States and work while she and the kids stayed here.
Yes.
How long were you gone for per period when you left?
First time I was gone 6 months, I couldn't stand it. Drove
Okay.
me crazy, man. I miss my family so much, you know. And then after that, it was every 3 months. And I would come back here and stay like 9 months.
Okay.
Because I was dumping money in businesses. We tried everything. It was a piggery. It was a sorry store. It was selling load. It was hauling coconuts, you know, Bidgioki machines. So,
Yeah.
and everything seemed to fail in the end. As hard as you fight for it.
Right.
The American dream here sometimes just doesn't seem like it fits.
I understand. So you finally just bit the bullet and decided that we're going to have to go back to America.
Yeah.
Well, hats off to you, man, for trying.
Yeah.
You know, you wanted to make it here so you could stay here, retire early, and just continue living in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And that wasn't going to happen.
No.
So you put on your big boy pants and you did what you had to do.
Yep.
And you got your wife and all the kids over to the States.
Yep.
We won't get into that debacle.
Yep. Yeah. I'll take all day.
Because that would be 2.5 videos in themselves.
Yeah.
So what part of the country were you living in?
Colorado.
And you were doing construction.
Yes.
Kids were in school.
Yes.
Okay. And so for 11 years, continuous, you all worked.
Yes. I mean, we we bought a piece of property.
Okay.
We did not borrow any money. Everything we put into the property and our house and everything was work, 60 hours a week, dumping in the house, dumping in the property. So we lived in RVs for 3 years with 3 kids. I mean, I would build a 12 by 16 room and I'm like, there's your living room.
Okay.
And then I'd say, okay, here's another bedroom. So I had little cubicles basically all over the property. And one day we just decided, all right, let's build a house.
Okay.
So we built the house, and then after it was done, after COVID, you know, we were just sick of the whole shit going on in the United States, the fentanyl and the crime and just attitude. So we had a family meeting, and I asked everybody, I said, what do you want to do? And my wife was included in this meeting. And everybody said, let's go to the Philippines.
Okay.
Because my kids were born here
Right.
originally.
Right. And so now, during the time that you were married and in the States, did you and your wife, would you say that you guys had a great marriage? Or would you have a rocky? Was it rocky? Was it up and down?
No, it was just...
I know it's getting personal. If you want me to shut up, I will.
Absolutely not. In fact, the marriage has kind of changed when you go back to the U.S. because
Get on that a little bit.
we didn't have rocky roads really because we hardly saw each other. She worked at night and I worked during the day. So we would, like 2 ships in the night, would see each other in passing. On her day off, she would generally just relax because she was doing like 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
I mean, being a go-getter, knowing the money and the opportunity she had there. So we wouldn't even take vacations or nothing. So our marriage was pretty much, you know, I mean, we became companions. And, you know, the kids had their room, you know, during COVID, everybody had their room and all that stuff. So they stayed pretty much in there. So everybody kind of grew apart.
Really?
Yes. I stayed home because I had, you know, unemployment and everything else. So I was watching the kids while she worked, you know. So she kind of developed her own individuality. You know, I never saw her really at work or anything like that. So
But you worked also, too. I'm a little confused.
Well, I didn't through COVID.
Oh, through COVID.
Yeah, because it was
apologize.
total lockdown, and I said, I'm not taking any chances with my kids.
Got it.
Absolutely not. You know, I don't want to get into all the mask wearing and crap like that, but whatever it took to keep my kids healthy and safe was my only concern. And my wife, you know.
And your wife, however, had a job that allowed her out of the house and to work and keep making money.
And she worked at night, so it was minimal people there. So during COVID, it was like, you know, maybe 10 people that wore masks.
Okay.
So it was okay, and she wanted to do it. She didn't like sitting around and being bored at the house. She's like, I could be making money.
Okay. And so when she first got to America, did she Was she more impressed with America? I mean, did she acclimate to that really quickly? Did she like it more than the Philippines? I guess that's my question.
I think yes, other than the cold, because Filipinos are, if it drops to 70 degrees here, they're freezing to death. Where's a blanket? With her, but her job, sustained her to where, she didn't have to get out in the cold. So, but unless you're a winter sports type person, there ain't a lot to do in Colorado. So you sit home for 9 months and you kind of just vegetate and all that. But she loved the overallness of it and the convenience of it. How America is. You don't have to fill out 1,000 pages, to buy a light bulb.
Right.
Like it is here. So the convenience of it, how easily things were accessible. Yeah, I think she really, really got used to that.
All right, and I think we established that it was 10 months ago that you all came over here.
Yep.
And set up shop.
Yep.
And you came over very financially stable.
Yep.
You had a lot of success with the business that you did, her job, and you did very, very well. And I know for a fact that you're building a house here and all that kind of stuff. So money's not really a problem for you.
No.
Okay. And we'll just leave it at that. Yet 2 weeks ago, your wife said, "That's it, I'm leaving." Kaboom. Now, here's the $1 million question. Was she tired of the Philippines? Was she tired of the marriage? Was she tired of being the mother? Or was she seeking something else?
I think you maybe could check all those boxes. I know she once she got here, she said, "I don't like the Philippines." I mean, when you spend your whole life trying to get out to a better place, for her it was like me going back to South Carolina, and starting from ground zero, So, I mean, I understood how she felt that. We did not actually need the money because I sat down and did the math on it. What she makes in a year, minus her rent and bills and everything. I told her for every house that I build and sell, I'll give her $10,000. 500,000 pesos.
Okay.
So that's 1,000,000 pesos a year. In a year's time, she would basically make the same there.
In America.
Exactly. So when people ask me, I do my best to defend and respect her decisions, but I get asked that a lot. Why did she go back when she really didn't need the money?
Okay. So do you think it was because she was just so acclimated to America? Do you think that she was sick and tired of you? Was there something that you did, or did you change in some way, shape, or form? Because what I ask myself is, and I actually Googled this last night because I knew we were going to have this
conversation. You found me on Google, huh? He's on to me.
I Googled why would a woman, and then I Googled why would a mother and just up and leave her husband or her family. I did it several different ways.
Yeah.
And the two responses that I got from Google after I sifted through the nonsense was, number one, career.
Yep.
She felt unfulfilled. Maybe she had gone to college or didn't get a chance to finish college. And I'm talking about not Filipinos. I'm talking about females.
Yes.
Period. Across the world, the planet. They'll pick up and they will leave their husband, their kids, and just go and pick up either their schooling or their career because they feel unfulfilled, or they're feeling unfulfilled in the marriage. And it's like, to me, it doesn't register how, and I do not want to disrespect your wife here because she's not here to defend herself, but I can't help but wonder, how does a woman not abandon you, but how does she just go and leave her kids? Can you address that?
I can, in her defense.
That's what I want to hear.
As best as I can. I mean, like I say, all the things that you said. I mean, she was a mother. She gave up her nursing career and everything. She went to America. She worked in wintertime in the snow and everything else to make sure we got what we needed. So, I mean, I didn't have any problem with anything like that, but I think she's tired of being, maybe, God, I hope I don't say this right and I don't offend her, but maybe she's just tired of the whole thing, and I need a break, and I can go back, and I can have my individuality, and I can do my career, and I come home. I mean, you know how it is when you're single. You know, you come home, if you don't want to eat or cook, you don't have to. If you want to go out and see a movie, you can go.
I dig it.
So I think in her mind and her heart, maybe that's kind of what she wants to experience also, because she just got her citizenship. So I understand that. I mean, the kids, they understand, I think, to a degree, but still, you know, they're like, well, why did mom leave?
How did it go? What was the night before like, before she got on the plane? And she had to say goodbye to her children and to you.
She went out for supper with them. Okay. They were in town, and they went out and had supper. And they, you know, I think she's tried to explain to them, maybe to soften the blow while she was going back. Because, you know, she had been mentioning this periodically for the last 6 months.
Right.
You know, so I mean, she would tell the kids or whatever, I'm leaving, I got a plane ticket, or I'm leaving in August, I'm going back and I'm going to work. So, you know, this was always mentioned, and you know, the kids kind of knew about it. So she was originally going back in August, and we were talking, and she said she'd already canceled a plane ticket like a week before in May, and I told her, I said, look, it looks like you really want to go. I said, why don't you just go?
Okay.
Go ahead and go now, you know.
What are your kids' response to all this? Are they cool with it? I mean, do they
well,
understand?
to a certain degree, I think my daughter, you know, this is all I can say in defense of my daughter, is she's 16.
I was going to ask, what are the ages of the kids? I forgot to ask that.
Okay, Jammer's 12, and
that's a
Princess
boy.
is 6. She'll be 16 this Sunday,
Okay.
and then Elvis is 17, almost 18 in a couple months.
Okay, so they're not little kids.
No, they're not, but it's still, especially with my daughter, I thought, you know, she's turning 16, and her and her mother have really developed a really closer relationship over here, because now she's not working at night.
Do you feel that she supports her mother's decision? Or do you think that she resents it, or is she ambivalent?
I think that she's just giving her room, like my grandmother used to do. You know, she used to tell me or whatever, you know, if you're going to do that, you know, you go ahead, but I'll tell you what's probably going to happen. So, I mean, you can't make anybody do anything. You can't make somebody love you. You can't make somebody, I mean, get my kids sometime to clean up, man, it's like impossible.
Yeah.
So you can't make them do anything. So I think my daughter, you know, she's also kind of caught in the middle. She loves her mama. She loves her daddy. She wants us to get, you know, everything straightened out to where, you know, her mother is back here. So I think she's hoping for the best, but by the same token, my daughter's a girl boss. So I think she understands what my wife is doing too. Because she already told me, my daughter, she said, I'm not going to have a guy dictating my life. You know, and for my wife, she was a Simple Mountain girl in the beginning, and that's the one I fell in love with, and giggly and laughing and all that stuff. And she went back to the U.S., and I mean, there's so much bitching and moaning going on there. I think some of it has rubbed off on all of us.
Okay.
You know, so I think maybe I came here to the Philippines to decompress from everything that was going on in the U.S., the negativity. I think maybe she's going back to the U.S. to decompress from the Philippines, and, you know, she tried it, you know, and maybe it just didn't work for her.
How does it feel to be a single father? We talk an awful lot about single moms out here. I mean, that's the story that goes across 100 channels 100 times.
Yeah, a lot of people ask.
This is kind of unique.
Yeah.
You're the single dad.
Yeah.
How is that responsibility falling on you?
I love it, man.
Okay.
I love it. I loved it through COVID. You know, I heard people bitching and moaning about, oh, my kids are driving me crazy. You know, and I'm like, dude, I love it. I've got quality time with my kids. My Elvis was 14 then, which is a critical age right in there where they start really getting rebellious. Ooh. And then it kind of blows over when they get almost 16. So, you know, we had all that time working out together. So I loved it. And then when I went back to the U.S. the first time, I took Elvis and Princess with me. Princess was 4, Elvis was 6. So they were babies. So, I mean, we went over there, and I was a cooking, and I was a cleaning, and I was doing laundry, and I was going to teachers' meetings and working at the same time. Plus, I'm online with my wife every night. We need DNA tests. We need this for our last son over here. So I like it. I love a challenge.
You know, ever since I've known this man, I'll speak to you folks for a minute, he has just been high as a kite when you mention his children. I mean, he is the ultimate father. This guy just embraces his kids like nobody I've ever seen before. It's like, you know, the birth of your son or the birth of your child is like the happiest day of your life. It feels to me like that happiness never wore off of you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's like, yeah. No. So, I was going to ask you something a little bit off topic here.
Okay.
And that is the school systems.
Yep.
I've had a lot of people inquire, or a fair number of people inquire about school systems. Can you tell the viewers that have children or in some sort of state, you know, going to have children or already do, what is your opinion of the school systems in America versus the school systems here in the Philippines?
I think the Philippines is, I would say, in the high 90% better.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They don't have the bullying. They take the time with the students. You know, I mean, they had a United Nations Day. They go to foundation school here in Dublin.
Is it a private? Is it private?
Yeah, it's a private.
And what does that cost? Because I've had guys ask me.
It was 35,000 pesos, which is about $700 per child.
Per year?
Per year.
So that's...
And but college, see, is even between 35 and 50. So you're talking only $1,000 a year to send your kids to a top college.
And you feel that the teachers are qualified? Do you feel that the curriculum is up to snuff?
Oh yeah, it is. And you know, I mean, they first came here, and of course they thought, well, you know, U.S. is a lot harder, but it's hard here too.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, they have to do the work, and it is 7 to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it is.
It ain't like the U.S., you know, so they get tired, you know, and everything like that. But you know, back to the point of the United Nations Day, dude, I had never seen anything like that in my life. My son dressed up as the Chinese emperor. Yeah, I mean, dude, I saw him and I was like, who the hell's that? You know, and they're like, that's Elvis, you know.
So they're engaged.
Oh, yeah.
I see it in the schools now, the phones and the texting and all that, and a lot of rebellious and a lot of disrespect to the teacher and chaos. I don't know if that's nationwide or not. I don't pretend to know. But I knew that it was funky when my kids were going to school over there. Yeah. And I can only imagine from what I've seen that it's probably declined from stuff that I see on the news, but I can only believe so much of that.
Well, see, the other big thing, too, was how unsafe the United States had got. You know, there were shootings. I mean, my daughter in kindergarten, her first damn day of school, you know, they had the police blocked off the school. And I'm like, what for? They said, well, we got this guy over here, a shooter on the next street. I was texting my daughter. I'm like, look, I'm coming in. I said, look at me. I'll be outside the window. I said, I will get you out of there. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, this is a small town in Colorado. Wow. So that was in 2012. So it has really got crazy. Plus the fentanyl. I mean, the fentanyl drugs, they are giving it to kids in candy and stuff to get them addicted. And dude, they're dying on the spot.
Yeah.
You know, the shootings, everything. So, I mean, my kids, they go to school. My son drives them in my car or his motorcycle. And I do not worry about the safety of my children really on the streets of Dumb-and-Getty as long as it's during daylight.
Copy.
You know, I mean, I don't want them wandering around inner city. You know, the boulevard's safe and nice and all that. And
no place is perfect.
Yeah, as long as they're with a group of friends and all. But that was the biggest thing there. And she had, my daughter, Princess, she has like so many friends. Cool. My son, Jammer, he's 12 and he's a foot taller than everybody in his class. So that's a winner right there.
So where do you see it, the future, if there is one, with the wife?
With what?
Your wife.
I think one of two things will happen.
Okay.
She will either, she says she's going to come back and visit in December.
Okay.
So if she comes back and she stays, then I think everything will kind of fall back in place. But if she doesn't stay, which think where she's leaning. She'll spend a couple weeks here and she'll go back because she has an apartment and a car, so she's kind of getting dug in. If she goes back then basically I'm just a single father living in the Philippines.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. It's like, if my kids are safe and they can go to school here, man, I won.
Okay.
I won the mission, all the years, the 18 years of scratching and scraping and eating peanut butter sandwiches and working 7 days a week doing 60 hours. It paid off, absolutely.
Right on. All right, in fairness to your wife,
Yep.
I'm going to filter the comments.
Okay.
I usually, on all my videos, if I was just talking to him about life in general, I just let all the comments come in and let the chips fall as they may. He's a big boy. He can take the snarkiness. But I want to put a layer of protection for your wife on there.
Thank you.
If I see
appreciate
something
that.
really ugly,
Many thanks.
I will review it and then I'll release it. And that's a lot of work, which I don't like, but I'm going to go ahead and do it.
You're an old married man, though. You got time on your hands.
And so, one other thing, and you started a YouTube channel. So that's actually how I picked up on all this. I was watching his YouTube channel. I hadn't seen him in person. We've been trying to get together for 2 months so I could go out and see your house.
Yeah.
And it's my fault because I've been going in this direction, that direction, this direction, that direction, and we just couldn't get physically together, and finally we did. But tell them a little bit about your YouTube channel.
I actually started it about 2 months ago, and the whole basis of it is like fun things that we've done in the Philippines. I'm from the South, so I have a lot of Southern values that my mother and grandmother and all used to tell me. So I incorporate a lot of that in there. Plus we do singing. I was a singer actually in Mindanao where I met my wife. She walked in one night, boom, in a nursing outfit. Oh my God, it was done. I said, that's Lady Perfect right there.
We are visual creatures.
Yes, absolutely. But the channel's also about the family, about the kids and their experiences and my daughter's opinion. But, most of my channel is about, like me and Paul were talking earlier about, you remember back when you were a kid and you'd wake up on a Saturday, you had all weekend, and it's like, what can we do today? It's fun. Yeah. We didn't think about bills. We didn't think about worry. We didn't get aggravated, what wasn't on TV or, blackout or whatever. So my channel is about like that inner child, if you got a second chance, without all the worry and all the stress and everything. Just go with it, man.
What's the name of the channel?
Jules in the Philippines, and it's kind of a weird spelling. It's J.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Juells.
Okay.
With that southern twang.
It'll be simple because I'll put a link in the description.
Salamat.
All right, so
Thank
that'll
you.
make it simple. Any last words? Any last pieces of advice or commentary or words to the wife or words to the world?
Well, of course, always support my wife and what she's doing there, absolutely, because I know it does get lonely. I mean, she just got there, so that's, winter's coming on, she's going to, I told her, I said, we're changed places. I said, now you know how I felt when I was over there alone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just, especially to the single fathers out there and stuff, I mean, don't beat her up, but man, if you got your kids, brother, you got everything.
All right.
That's it. Your kids and your health, and you got everything.
Well, kids, thanks for tuning in. We're going to call it a day. Jules and I are going to go outside because we're at Critter Republic. We're going to enjoy a little beach view. So thanks for watching.
All right.